Alex, shall we head home now? The sun is starting to head back home soon too.
No. I want to watch the train.
Despite my fifth attempt to persuade him, my 2-year-old grandchild tightly gripped the station's railing with small hands, waving goodbye to yet another train passing by. Oh dear, I wonder if we'll make it back in time for dinner? Despite my exasperation, I ended up indulging my grandchild's whim. The sparkling eyes that shine brighter than the train lights, and the cheeks that puff up and turn rosy with excitement, are so adorable. As a grandmother, I feel like I'd do anything just to see that smile. Even after you've surpassed me in height, that won't change. My name is Katie. I am 75 years old, enjoying a leisurely retirement while receiving a pension. My husband Blake is the same age as me, and we spend our days going to gatherings and enjoying chess with friends. We have one son and one daughter. Both of them have had their own families for quite some time. Our eldest son's family has a university student named Alex. Our eldest son works for a company that transfers him frequently, so when our grandson was little, we had to move every 3 years or so. It was tough on our grandson having to leave his friends behind each time, and I think it was hard on our daughter-in-law as well. So when they came to visit during the year-end holidays or Christmas, I welcomed them wholeheartedly, and if they asked me to take care of my grandchild, I happily did so. I would hold my grandchild's little hand and together we would choose tonight's dinner menu at the restaurant, or we would watch trains until sunset at the nearby station, or I would carry their exhausted little body on my back all the way home. They would dart off quickly if I wasn't careful, and sometimes they would get fussy, making it challenging to walk with them, but these moments were precious and warm memories to cherish. My grandchild was very affectionate, always calling out Grandma, Grandma, which was very endearing. On the other hand, Leah, my eldest son's wife, and Alex's mother, was someone who hardly ever expressed gratitude. Even when we took care of our grandchild during summer vacation or splurged on gifts for special occasions like his entrance into school.
Oh, thank you.
Just those few words. At first, I felt unsettled and considered discussing it with my eldest son. But I didn't want it to seem like I was bullying her, so I tried my best not to let it bother me. My eldest son switched to a job assignment away from home around the time my grandchild entered junior high school. My grandchild also became busy with club activities and rarely came back to visit. After entering high school, they never visited us once. I felt lonely, but my friends also lamented similar situations.
My grandchild, now in high school, never comes to visit.
So I resigned myself, thinking it was the same everywhere. One day, during those lonely times, I received a rare phone call from Leah. My eldest son always called whenever something happened. Receiving a call from her was quite unusual. I wonder if something bad happened to my eldest son. In a moment of fear, I hesitantly picked up the receiver. Hello.
Mother-in-law? We don't have enough money for Alex's university fees, so could you please give us some money?
What? After not hearing from her for a while, she blurted out her request without any greetings or small talk. Well, how straightforward of her. No, this isn't the time to be impressed. What does she mean by asking for money like this? For a moment, I thought it might be some kind of scam, so I glanced at the display screen, which indeed showed my eldest son's wife's name and number. What's this sudden request about?
It seems Alex is planning to take entrance exams for university, and his first choice university is far away, so he'll need to live on his own. We can't afford that. So please help us out, mother-in-law.
Ah. Finally, my thoughts caught up and I understood. She's asking for money to support my grandson. But she's still the same as always. When asking someone for something, instead of saying please, she just says give. I respond. I understand that you are going through a lot with Alex's university entrance exams. But bringing up money so suddenly.
Why? It's for the sake of our dear grandson, you know? Don't you think it's pitiful that our dear grandson can't achieve his dream?
Certainly, Alex is a precious grandson. Even though I haven't seen him since he entered high school, he's still someone I value enough to want to help if something happens. But isn't it wrong to use the existence of a grandchild as leverage to demand assistance? Have you discussed this thoroughly with my son? Is it true that his income isn't sufficient?
You do know that my husband is away on assignment, right? Despite knowing that, are you saying such things?
It doesn't mean we shouldn't discuss things just because he's away. As if expressing exasperation toward a stubborn old person, Leah sighed. I'm the one who wants to sigh.
My husband has entrusted everything about the house and Alex to me. So it's okay.
Well, I don't feel okay at all. Anyway, I can't give you an immediate answer about the money. I'll discuss it with my husband, so please wait a bit. With that, I informed her and hung up without waiting for her response. I had always thought she was audacious, but to demand assistance solely using our grandchild as leverage, without any prior relationship, honestly, I wanted to refuse outright. However, what would happen to our grandchild if we didn't assist? I had a premonition that whether we helped or not, it would leave a bitter feeling. I let out a deep sigh once again. In the end, my husband and I decided to provide financial assistance for our grandchild's university expenses. While we certainly couldn't agree with Leah's attitude, we wanted to support our grandchild's education. Even if people say we're being too soft, the truth is we just can't help doting on our grandchild. We also contacted our son, who was away on assignment.
I've left financial matters and education to my wife, so if she says she needs help, please lend her the money. She'll pay it back little by little.
He asked us this way. Although Leah had asked for a loan, we were concerned that we might not live to see it fully repaid. Considering it as an advance inheritance, we decided to invest $4 million into our grandchild's future. Afterward, we received news that our grandchild had been accepted into their first choice university, but contact with our eldest son's family once again ceased. As the seasons turned, December arrived. The days grew shorter, and the winter nights quickly turned chilly, which took a toll on the elderly. Tonight was particularly cold, so I pulled out a blanket from the depths of the closet where it had been stored. I wonder if Alex is keeping warm and sleeping well in his place.
He should be fine. Besides, young folks manage to have fun even in the cold.
Yeah, I suppose so. Every time I feel the change of seasons, I find myself worrying about my grandson, and my husband, with a wry smile, indulges me. I wonder if he'll come to visit for New Year's this year. As I prepare for bed with this thought in mind, the doorbell suddenly rings. My husband and I exchange glances. It's 10 p.m., not a typical time for visitors. We cautiously peer through the intercom. Alex? There, looking more grown-up than in my memories, is my grandson Alex, with a tired expression on his face. I have no idea why or how Kazuki ended up like this. But first, I forcibly dragged my exhausted grandson, who seemed on the brink of disappearing, into the living room and made him sit at the kotatsu. When I asked if he was hungry, he nodded slightly, so I reheated the leftover beef stew and bread for dinner and quickly made a simple onion soup. As Alex quietly took a sip, tears began to trickle down his face.
It's warm, so warm.
Alex. Watching him eat the beef stew while crying, he didn't seem like a typical university student. Upon closer inspection, he was dressed too lightly for a winter night, and his skin looked unhealthy. My husband and I, bewildered by his unusual demeanor, silently watched him eat. After finishing the meal, I asked Alex, whose complexion had regained some color. Alex, are you eating properly? Do you have enough clothes? He quietly shakes his head.
It can't be helped. I said I wanted to go to university even though we don't have money.
As he speaks with resignation, I recall my eldest son's wife mentioning they have no money. Is it true that they're so financially strained that my grandson is suffering? My eldest son should be working for a company that offers decent salaries and allowances due to frequent transfers. Is your household really that short on money?
Yeah, that's why I have to cover everything myself. I managed to borrow a scholarship for tuition, but I have to earn money through part-time jobs for living expenses and apartment rent. However, by attending university, I can only earn enough for rent and utilities.
Is that so?
On top of that, I fell ill in November and couldn't work much, so I had no income in December. I couldn't pay the rent, I was hungry, and I felt helpless. But then, while I was standing on the station platform to go to work, I saw a train heading towards a station name I recognized. Ah, it's the station where I used to watch trains with Grandma. I thought if I got on that train, I could see Grandma again. Before I knew it, I had jumped on.
Alex, who should have grown much larger than me, trembles small like a young child.
I'm sorry, Grandma, for not visiting you all this time, only coming in times like this.
Unable to bear the sight of him in tears, I gently pat his huddled back. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just glad you thought of Grandma when you were in trouble.
Grandma.
Yes, it's a good thing you came to us before things got out of hand. And we're the only ones who can see that something's not right with Alex's situation. My husband asks him with a serious expression.
Alex, did your mother say she couldn't afford your tuition because she had no money?
Huh? Well, yeah.
But listen, I was asked by your mother to give her money for your tuition.
What?
His eyes, wet with tears, widened in shock.
No way.
It's not a lie, Alex. He looks at me. As if confirming my husband's words to be true, he nods slightly, and Alex's face starts to pale.
No. Why? How?
Why he is going through such a terrible ordeal is also a mystery to us. The only thing we know for sure is that the $4 million we handed over for our grandson's future hasn't reached him. There's a high likelihood that either our eldest son's wife or our eldest son embezzled it. Regardless of the reason, it's never acceptable for parents to steal money from their children. Even if they're the biological parents, if they hurt my precious grandchild, I won't forgive them. Alex, leave the rest to Grandma. I absolutely, positively won't let you go through any more hardship. My husband nodded emphatically in agreement with my impassioned words.
Grandma.
Another tear escaped from Alexi's large eyes. Enraged by our grandson's tears, my husband tried calling Leah multiple times, but there was no sign of her answering. So we consulted with our other child, our daughter. If she's not answering the phone, that works in our favor. It's the perfect chance for a surprise visit. Even over the phone, we could tell by the smirk on her face. The next day, leaving Alex at home, my husband, daughter, and I visited the apartment where Leah lived. Initially met with silence, we kept pressing the intercom repeatedly. When she reluctantly opened the door with an expression of clear annoyance, we barged inside.
Wait, what's going on all of a sudden?
Ignoring Leah's obvious irritation and attempts to intervene, I made an apologetic expression and clasped my hands together. I'm sorry about this. Since no matter how much we called, you never picked up, we decided to come over. Alex mentioned when he visited last time that he didn't have winter clothes and felt cold. So I promised to come and get them for him.
Huh? Alex?
The mention of our grandson's name briefly startled her. Capitalizing on this opening, our daughter smoothly entered the room. It seems like Dad can't even answer the phone, and my parents seem to dislike you, so I thought you might feel sorry if your mother-in-law suddenly barged in, so I came too. Now, I wonder if Alex's room is here? With a considerate tone resembling that of a thoughtful sister-in-law, our daughter began to search the room bluntly.
Hey, don't just barge in like that. That's my closet over there.
Oh.
Oh, come on.
Leah, you have good taste. Huh? My daughter took a coat from the neat row of hangers. This coat is simple but made of nice fabric. And the design isn't trendy?
Well, I guess.
My daughter's remarks caused Leah to sniff approvingly. This bag here also has a nice glossy finish. My daughter showed the black, glossy bag to Leah. It certainly has a glossy finish and is an elegant and lovely bag. Perhaps pleased to receive compliments on her taste, Leah's expression softened.
Isn't it? It's cheap though.
Huh? Is this cheap? It costs $1,200, you know?
Huh?
Huh? $1,200? I couldn't help but exclaim loudly, and Leah looked embarrassed. My daughter grinned and resumed rummaging through the closet. And this coat here, about $5,000? Is that considered cheap in your book too? With each observation from the daughter, her face, which had been smiling earlier, started to pale. My daughter sure knows how to hit where it hurts, even with her own family. I called my daughter this time to uncover how Leah was spending her money. There's a possibility that my son himself misused the tuition fees, but since he's left everything to his wife, it seems highly likely that she might be embezzling. I thought my daughter, who knows more about brands than I do, would surely find some evidence. It was a great success. Ignoring the dumbfounded son's wife, my daughter kept finding more and more expensive brand items. Each item looked simple at first glance, but to those who know, they were all high-quality goods. It's hard to believe these belong to a mother of a thin, gaunt son who can barely earn enough for living expenses. Impressive. The contents of this closet. I wonder how much it would all add up to. But I don't see Alex's clothes here. Maybe in another room?
That's why you shouldn't just. Oh, the other one is in the bathroom.
Wow, this toner costs $100, right? Are you using the whole line? Amazing. So that's why your skin is glowing. Alexi's skin used to be so dry, remember?
Wait a minute.
Oh wow, even the showerhead and hairdryer are high-end. This is like a celebrity lifestyle. Must be nice to live so well on my brother's earnings.
Wait, hold on.
Even as Leah was losing her composure, my daughter's relentless exploration continued. Frustrated and scratching her head, my son's wife, I couldn't help but make a snide remark. I couldn't let my daughter win. You seem to be living quite lavishly, Leah. With all this, it seems like you didn't need our support, did you?
Well.
But isn't it strange? Alex said he's using scholarships for tuition and working part-time for living expenses. Yet here you are, living so comfortably. Isn't that right, Leah? Where did the 4 million yen go? Was it for this coat? Or maybe these cosmetics?
No.
I glared at her, who was nervously shifting her eyes and stuttering excuses. I've never bullied my daughter-in-law, but I found investigating her misdeeds unexpectedly satisfying. No, this was all for the sake of my dear grandson. At that moment, my husband, who had silently joined us in the living room, gestured for me to come over.
It seems there may be another reason, dear.
What? Leah's face contorted even more dramatically than before as she was interrupted. I confidently strode into the living room before any further obstacles arose, and my husband drew open the curtains of the large French window. On the balcony outside, a scantily clad man stood, his lips turning purple as his shoulders trembled. He was not my son. Well, if he were my son, there would be no reason for him to be standing naked on the balcony. Nice to meet you, sir. Leah, who might this be? I asked calmly, restraining my anger. Meanwhile, she trembled uncontrollably. No, it's not. It's not him. And thus, the unexpected invasion of her apartment revealed her obsession with luxury brands and even more surprises. Neither my son nor my grandson were particularly knowledgeable about brands. Additionally, she favored items devoid of prominent logos, unaware that they were worth several $100,000. Furthermore, taking advantage of the absence of my husband and son, she had been living in a quasi-cohabitation arrangement with her cheating partner recently. Of course, the entire $4 million that we had provided for Alex's sake had been spent on luxury brand bags and their extravagant lifestyle with the cheating man. What a despicable story. Naturally, my eldest son's marriage ended in divorce. Despite the excuses from my former daughter-in-law about feeling lonely or stressed from managing childcare and household chores alone, no one paid attention. In the end, my former daughter-in-law was presented with a bill totaling close to $10 million for the expenses lavished on luxury goods and as compensation for infidelity. She had to sell off all her cherished luxury items but still couldn't repay the full amount, so she's now committed to making monthly installments. At 45 years old and having never held down a steady job since marriage, it seems unlikely she'll find stable employment. She faces a future without her beloved brands and will likely spend her life repaying debts until she's nearly 70. After paying the compensation, the cheating man quickly disappeared, leaving my former daughter-in-law to live alone in a rundown apartment she'd been in for 45 years. Unable to bear the loneliness and poverty, she even tried to approach Alex by showing up uninvited at his university. However, he knows all about his mother's misdeeds and reportedly walks away without a second glance, refusing to cling to her. My former daughter-in-law, who never imagined being abandoned by her child, was said to be deeply shocked and distraught. What a pity. Meanwhile, my eldest son, Alex's father, deeply reflected on leaving everything to his wife while working away from home. He apologized to Alex and promised that he, as his father, would take full responsibility for tuition and living expenses. Though we can't change the fact that he faced unnecessary hardships, I hope he can move forward and make things right from now on. It was during the Obon holiday, 3 years after that incident.
Granny, I finished mowing the lawn.
Thank you. Alex, let's have some cold green tea and watermelon on the terrace. I placed a bright red watermelon next to Alex, who was seated on the terrace, wiping sweat from his brow, and he happily took a big bite. Watching him enjoy the watermelon so much, I couldn't resist reaching out for a slice myself. Since my eldest son's divorce, Alex has started visiting us during every university break. You don't have to go out of your way, I said, but he just smiled and replied,
I want to see you guys.
Without hesitation. During these visits, he's even helped with tasks that we couldn't manage on our own. Such a kind-hearted Alex will be starting his professional career next year. As promised, his father, my eldest son, diligently covered his tuition and living expenses, allowing him to fully enjoy university life and successfully secure the job he had longed for. I truly feel that his efforts have been rewarded, and I'm so glad for him. Be sure to spit out the watermelon seeds. They'll upset your stomach.
Come on, Granny, I'm not a kid anymore.
Well, even if you've grown up, you'll always be my precious, adorable grandson. He seemed both exasperated and pleased by my words, smiling warmly. Your smile means the world to Granny, you know. How did you find this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.